A heartbreaking exit, a stunned silence, and now Rafael Nadal has finally broken his silence. His reaction to Alex's defeat has sent shockwaves throughout the tennis world, leaving fans and analysts searching for answers. Many expected a simple message of support or a few polite words of encouragement. Instead, Nadal delivered something far more meaningful, an emotional reflection that felt deeply personal, offering a rare glimpse into the realities of life at the highest level of the sport. This was far more than a routine post-match response. It was a heartfelt statement from one of tennis' greatest champions, carrying the weight of experience, wisdom, and genuine emotion. His words have sparked widespread discussion, with many believing they could shape the narrative surrounding the next generation of tennis. As fans continue to dissect every sentence, one question continues to echo across the sport. What really happened behind those closed doors, and why did Nadal choose this exact moment to speak so openly? The drama, however, did not begin with Nadal's comments. The tension had been building long before he uttered a single word, setting the stage for a moment that would capture the attention of the entire tennis world. After Alex Eala's stunning exit at Wimbledon, an eerie silence settled over the tennis world. For hours, it felt as though everyone was holding their breath, waiting for a reaction from one of the sport's most respected voices. Social media quickly erupted with speculation, as fans flooded their timelines with messages tagging Rafael Nadal and urging him to share his thoughts. Eala, the young Filipino sensation, had displayed extraordinary determination, pushing one of the tournament favorites to the very edge before falling in a gripping three-set battle. Although the result ended her remarkable run, her performance was widely praised as a defining breakthrough that announced her arrival on one of tennis' biggest stages. Yet, in the immediate aftermath, the conversation was overshadowed by the heartbreak of defeat. Cameras captured the emotional scenes on court, while supporters debated what the loss would mean for Eala's future. Then, just as the initial wave of disappointment began to settle, a video started circulating online. Standing courtside was Rafael Nadal, watching quietly with an expression that revealed almost nothing. He had witnessed every twist and turn of the match, but instead of offering an instant reaction, he chose to remain silent. That silence only intensified the streak. Nadal was not merely another spectator in the crowd. He was one of the greatest champions the sport has ever known, a player whose opinions carry enormous weight across the tennis world. Every passing moment without a comment fueled even more speculation as fans and analysts wondered what was going through his mind. It felt like the calm before a storm, with the entire tennis community waiting for a verdict, a word of encouragement, or perhaps a deeper insight from the King of Clay himself. The anticipation soon became a story of its own. This was no longer just about waiting for a post-match reaction. It had evolved into a moment filled with expectation, curiosity, and emotion, as everyone wondered whether Nadal's eventual words would simply comfort a rising star or reveal something far more profound about Alex Eala's future and the direction of the sport itself. It was a powerful reminder of the immense influence Rafael Nadal holds, not only as one of the greatest players in tennis history, but also as one of the sport's most trusted voices. Over the years, fans have come to view him as a symbol of resilience, humility, and unwavering determination. When Nadal chooses to speak, people listen. That is exactly why the anticipation surrounding his response continued to grow. By the time he finally addressed Alex Eala's heartbreaking defeat, the entire tennis world was eager to hear what he had to say. When Nadal finally broke his silence, his message carried remarkable emotional depth. Rather than focusing solely on the disappointment of the result, he placed Eala's performance into a much broader perspective. Instead of seeing the match as the end of a dream, he described it as an important chapter in the journey of a young player with enormous potential. His words transformed a painful loss into a story of growth, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Speaking with a sincerity rarely seen from a player so often defined by his calm and composed demeanor on the court, Nadal emphasized that true champions are not measured only by victories, but by the way they respond to adversity. He praised Eala's courage, determination, and competitive spirit, suggesting that the qualities she displayed during the match mattered just as much as the final score. According to Nadal, performances like these are what shape future champions, because they reveal character under the greatest pressure. He rejected the idea that the defeat should be viewed as a failure. Instead, Nadal portrayed it as an essential part of every champion's journey, a painful but valuable experience that builds strength, maturity, and belief. His message resonated with fans around the world, serving as a reminder that the road to greatness is rarely defined by uninterrupted success. More often, it is the difficult moments, the heartbreaking losses, and the lessons learned from them that ultimately create legends. Reflecting on his own journey, Nadal explained that some of the most painful defeats of his career ultimately became the foundation of his success. Drawing from years of experience at the highest level of the sport, he emphasized that setbacks often teach lessons that victories simply cannot. According to Nadal, moments of heartbreak build resilience, strengthen character, and prepare young players for the challenges that lie ahead. He suggested that Alex Eala's Wimbledon campaign, despite ending in disappointment, could prove to be one of the most important milestones of her career. Nadal also stressed that nothing can truly replicate the pressure of competing at Wimbledon in front of a worldwide audience. The intensity, expectations, and emotional weight of performing on one of tennis' biggest stages are experiences that cannot be recreated on a practice court. The fact that Eala remained composed, competed fearlessly, and continued fighting until the very last point, even in defeat, was, in his view, one of the clearest signs that she possesses the mentality required to succeed at the highest level. His reaction was far more than a simple message of encouragement. It was a lesson in leadership and mentorship from one of the greatest champions the game has ever seen. Rather than allowing the conversation to focus solely on the final score, Nadal placed Eala's performance within the larger story of tennis history, reminding fans that nearly every legendary career has been shaped by moments of adversity. His message suggested that true champions are not defined by avoiding defeat, but by embracing its lessons, growing stronger because of it, and using those experiences as fuel for future greatness. Nadal's message went far beyond the disappointment of a single match. Instead of focusing on the final result, he highlighted the deeper emotional and psychological challenges that every young athlete must overcome on the path to greatness. He didn't simply see a loss on a tennis court, he saw a young player standing at a defining crossroads, carrying the hopes of a nation while performing under the intense scrutiny of a global audience. His perspective shifted the conversation from defeat to resilience, reminding everyone that the biggest battles in professional tennis are often fought long before the first ball is struck. Reflecting on the pressures that come with becoming one of the sport's brightest young stars, Nadal emphasized that fans often witness only the outcome, never the countless hours of sacrifice that make those moments possible. Behind every match are years of relentless training, difficult decisions, lonely days on the road, and the constant challenge of overcoming self-doubt. According to Nadal, those unseen struggles are what truly shape a player's character, especially when expectations continue to grow with every tournament. He also pointed to the emotional burden of representing an entire nation on one of tennis' biggest stages. For a rising star like Alex Eala, every performance carries enormous attention, and every victory or defeat is analyzed by millions of fans around the world. Yet despite that pressure, Nadal believed Eala handled herself with remarkable composure, maturity, and professionalism. Her determination, poise, and refusal to give in under difficult circumstances revealed qualities that statistics alone can never measure. In Nadal's view, moments like these define far more than a single tournament. They reveal the mental strength, resilience, and character that set separate promising talents from future champions. His message encouraged fans to look beyond the scoreboard and recognize the courage it takes simply to compete at the highest level. Rather than seeing disappointment, he saw the foundation of a remarkable future, one built not only on talent but also on perseverance, humility, and the ability to grow through adversity. In Nadal's eyes, the match represented far more than a painful defeat, it marked a rite of passage. Rather than allowing the result to define Alex Eala's Wimbledon campaign, he suggested that her performance had already delivered a far more important message. She had proven that she belongs on one of the biggest stages in tennis. The experience, he implied, should not be remembered for the heartbreak of the final score, but for the confidence it should instill as she continues her journey. Instead of carrying the weight of disappointment, Eala should carry the belief that she has the talent, resilience, and determination to compete with the very best in the world. That perspective immediately changed the conversation. Fans and analysts who had initially focused on the loss began looking at the match through a completely different lens. Rather than viewing it as a setback that raised questions about Eala's future, many began to see it as powerful evidence of her courage, composure, and enormous potential. The narrative shifted from what she had failed to achieve to everything she had already proven during her remarkable run. Nadal's reflections also challenged the simplistic way victories and defeats are often judged in professional sports. His message served as a reminder that the journey to greatness is rarely measured by trophies alone. Growth, resilience, and the ability to rise after disappointment are just as important as lifting championship titles. By encouraging people to look beyond the scoreboard, he highlighted the deeper lessons that shape every great champion. Ultimately, Nadal demonstrated that a true legend's legacy extends far beyond the records they set or the trophies they collect. It is also reflected in the wisdom they pass on, the perspective they offer, and the inspiration they provide to the next generation. His response elevated the discussion beyond a single Wimbledon match, transforming it into a powerful reminder that the future of tennis is built not only by champions who win, but also by those who inspire others to keep believing, learning, and growing after every challenge. As Nadal's message began circulating, it quickly became one of the biggest talking points in the tennis world. Fans, commentators, and former players eagerly discussed his perspective, with many praising the depth of his remarks and the encouragement he offered to Alex Eala. Across social media, conversations intensified as supporters shared clips, debated his comments, and reflected on what they could mean for one of tennis's brightest young talents. Within hours, the discussion had spread far on the match itself. Instead of focusing solely on the final score, people were now talking about resilience, character, and the qualities that define future champions. The spotlight shifted from a heartbreaking defeat to a much larger conversation about Eala's remarkable potential and the journey that still lies ahead. Many observers pointed out that praise from a player of Nadal's stature carries a unique level of significance. Throughout his legendary career, he has earned universal respect not only because of his extraordinary achievements but also because of the humility, discipline, and sportsmanship he has consistently displayed. His words are rarely viewed as casual compliments. They are often seen as thoughtful assessments shaped by decades of competing against the greatest players in tennis history. That is why so many people believed his comments held genuine weight. For a young player still establishing herself on the biggest stages, receiving encouragement from someone with Nadal's experience can be a tremendous source of confidence and motivation. Supporters from the Philippines embraced the moment with immense pride, celebrating what they believed was another milestone in Eala's rapidly growing career. Fans from around the world joined the conversation, applauding her fearless performance and praising the composure she displayed under enormous pressure. Many noted that while victory creates headlines, performances like this often earn something even more valuable: the respect of fellow professionals and the admiration of the global tennis community. Thousands of messages poured in, recognizing not only Eala's talent but also her determination to compete without fear against one of the tournament's toughest